Hey guys, I just want to jump in right quick because honey, something has come across my way. I was having a conversation and baby, I need to share it with you. Be careful what come out of your mouth. Now, lately, we've had our election and the results didn't go the way that some people liked, and they're getting on social media and they're ranting and raving about it. I mean, just going all in about it, and, which everyone has a right to do. But did you know that what you put on social media could come back and bite you in the butt? I've told you guys that over and over and over that on my page, I try to stay away from politics. That's something I don't want to get into because, it can get into a heated argument, but also it can bite you. Sure can. So I was talking to someone today and they said that, they asked me, they said, do you have a social media? I'm like, yeah, I got a social media. And they asked me, what is your social media about? What do you talk about? So I said, lifestyle, travel, blog, and blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, do you ever talk about politics? And I said, well, for me, I try to stay away from the politics because, again, I don't get into that going back and forth and being nasty and things like that because you never know who's watching your page. And that person said, good. And I said, why do you say good? And that person said, did you know that whatever you say on social media could have a negative effect on you and your employment? So I didn't get that. So I said, what do you mean? And they said, have you heard of the Hatch Act? And I said, I've never heard of that. So then they said, go back and they look it up. So when I looked it up and I read it, and it states, the Hatch Act restricts the political activity of individuals largely employed by the federal government, state or local executive agencies, and who work in connection with programs financed in whole or in part by federal loans or grant, receive federal funds, federal loans or grants, or federal contracts. So I said, okay, so what are you saying? If your employer, right, is government funded or receive funding from the government, you are subject to whatever you say, including social media. So I said, okay, all right. So did you know that if you go on social media and you're badgering, who's now in office or anything political, do you realize if you are friends with your coworker on social media, and if your coworker take that tape and download it, screenshot it or whatever, and give it to the manager or HR, you could be subject to termination? I know you're saying, okay, well, what do you mean by that? Let me explain. When your employer is government funded, right, then you have to abide by all the rules. Now, the Hatch Act is something that a lot of companies are now implementing in their employee handbook. That's why it's always important to read your employee handbook because something could change. You never know. So what I did was I contacted my HR and I asked my HR, do our company apply the Hatch Act, and if we're government funded? So I'm still waiting on a response from that. So what can happen is that, say for instance, you work for ABC company, right? And with ABC company, you are handling accounts, which is federally funded, that your employer gets, and you are, the overseer of that person's account. You get on social media and you start badgering and going off on this, that, and the other, that, and the other. Your coworker, which also could be your competition, keep that in mind, get that, send it back over to the boss or HR, and HR can say, hey, you know what, can I talk to you for a minute? It was brought to our attention that on social media you saying X, Y, and Z. You are a representation of your company. Whether you're working during the day or if you're off, whatever it is, you are still representing your company. They have a right to terminate you. Now, I know my employer is a at-will company, which means they can let you go at will, regardless. But with the Hatch Act, it also goes a step further. So what I'm saying to you guys is be careful of what you talk about. Don't let these people on social media get you all hyped up, all emotional, you know, for you to go on and start saying stuff that you really can't take back. You just can't take it back, and cause your household to be in jeopardy. That's all that I'm saying. For me, that's why I always be careful about what I put out there in the atmosphere, because A, your employer can be looking at it. So you have to be careful about what you putting out there in the atmosphere. That's why I said be careful what come out of your mouth, because you never know that if it's going to bite you in the end. You never know that. You don't know that. So I wanted to get on here today just to let you guys know about the Hatch Act. I also want you guys to do your own research. I also want you guys to go back and talk to your employer and say, hey, you know, by the way, do you guys, is our company implements the Hatch Act, and if our company is federally funded? Asking them 2 questions. And if they say yes, you know, we're federally funded, and yes, we are, we implement the Hatch Act, you better be careful about what you say on social media. Because if anybody turn you in, it's a wrap. It could be a wrap for you. So I want to get on today just to give you guys a little bit of tidbit. That is my considered to be Khandi Career Chronicles, because hey, I'm all about helping you. Just keep in mind, that same person that turned you in will be the same person that's going to apply for your job, because baby, it may be a job opening. And then don't let them get you all hyped up like, girl, we gonna do this and we gonna protest and we gonna call all these activists, girl, because they shouldn't have to, you know, they shouldn't have fired you. No, they not. All that is hype. At the end of the day, you are responsible for you. That's it. I don't want to hold on to information I know that it can help you. And yes, you all know that the internet streets have been on fire. I've been watching some people, and oh my gosh, the things they've been saying. And I'm not discounting anyone's passion for their political views or whatever. I'm not. Everybody has a right to say what they want to say. I'm just saying, when you say things like that, there are consequences to that. It is. So be careful and watch your mouth on what you say. Go to work tomorrow or today, or if you're watching this, and ask about those 2 things. And then at that point, make a decision. Okay, y'all, I will catch y'all later. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, and leave a comment below, and let me know what y'all think about that.